This is Cast of Wonders, the young adult fiction podcast featuring stories of the fantastic. Welcome. Hello everyone, your editor Marguerite Kenner here. This week at Cast of Wonders, we are pleased to announce a special project we've been working on this summer. Summer. It's one of my favorite seasons, full of great outdoor activities like going to the beach, hiking or riding my bike in the forest, and spending lots and lots of time in the sun. I even went to summer camp a couple of times when I was a kid, once for band and another time for school. Did you ever go to summer camp? Well, what if you don't go to a regular school? Or what if you aren't human? Would you still like to go to camp? Wouldn't you still want to roast marshmallows and go kayaking with your friends? What would a summer camp for supernatural kids look like? Well, guess what? We've got the answer. Cast of Wonders invites you to the magical world of Camp Myth, where centaurs, kitsune, dryads, cyclops, mermaids, and other mythical youngsters spend their summers adventuring and earning merit badges. Starting September 25th, Cast of Wonders will debut Phoenix Watching, the first Camp Myth novel by Chris Lewis Carter. This longer story unfolds over 15 chapters and will be airing one chapter a week every Wednesday, in addition to our weekly stories and Little Wonders on Sundays. But it's better than that. Phoenix Watching will be a full cast production featuring the voice talents of Kate Baker, Adam Black, Tina Connolly, Christiana Ellis, Alethea Contis, and both Alistair and Ian Stewart, not to mention our own Graham Dunlop, Barry J. Northern, and yours truly. We'll even have a special page on the Cast of Wonders website where you can see artwork from Phoenix Watching and find links to all the episodes after they air, as well as links to buy your own copy of Phoenix Watching or the Camp Myth role-playing game. There might even be a few surprises that crop up as the story progresses, so be sure to check back for the latest news. Hint, there's gonna be a contest. To introduce you to the world of Camp Myth, today we present the story Snakes and Campers by Chris Lewis Carter, a standalone tale in this enchanted world. From high school textbooks to award-winning magazines and podcasts, Chris has been featured in over 24 publications, including Nelson Literacy 8, Word Riot, 3 AM Magazine, Nightblade, and our good friends at Pseudopod. Chris is a contributor to indie game developer Studio Contribia and will be published in the upcoming Chuck Palahniuk edited collection Burnt Tongues, coming from Medallion Press in 2014. When he isn't writing, Chris can usually be found playing video games or listening to podcasts, most likely both at the same time, which is a knack I wish I had. You can find out more about him at his website, chrislewiscarter.com. Your narrator this week is our hardworking and extremely talented host and sound producer, Graham Dunlop. And now, we've a tale to tell.
Snakes and Campers by Chris Lewis Carter. A Camp Myth tale featuring Zera, Kitsune, created by Magenta Wolf, Nasius, a Cyclops created by Nathan Pettigrew, Kalen, a Centaur created by Andrew Webster, Anthea, a Dryad created by Elizabeth Verbrack, Drew, a Centaur created by Kate Trgovac, Pointer and Kuru, a Centaur and Kitsune created by Ahmed Al-Mutawa. After nearly 20 minutes of trudging through the forgotten forest in silence, Zera plops down on a rotting log and says, "It's official, we're lost." "That's impossible," Drew says. He removes a crumpled sheet of paper from his bag and studies it intently. I've mapped out this entire area. We just need to get back on course. Natchius grunts. His steel blue eye scans their surroundings for any sign of danger. And what does the map say exactly? It says that we're lost, Zera replies. Before Drew can respond, the trees part and 2 more centaurs join the group. Kalen, lugging his overstuffed backpack, and Pointer, trying to prevent any branches from swatting his girlfriend, Kuru, a kitsune who sits perched on his back. Come on, guys, arguing isn't going to help, she says in her always upbeat tone. There's got to be a phoenix around here somewhere. We just need to stay positive. Pointer nods and brushes a stray leaf from his beard. She's right. Let's just take a moment to regroup, then keep moving. Kalen hobbles over to the log, his leg brace squeaking slightly with each step. Do you think the other group we saw heading into the forest are phoenix watching too? I wonder if they've found one by now. Those 3, Natchius snorts. Not a chance. They'll be lucky if they make it back to camp at all. Hey everyone, calls a voice from the treetops. The entire group looks up to see Anthea, a dryad with wild cherry blossom hair, standing on a limb and pointing off in the distance. I can see smoke. The forest, it's on fire. Fire? Drew echoes. He rears up on his hind legs, punching the air with his front hooves, which are covered in a pair of mismatched argyle socks. Is it close? It will be if we don't get a move on, Anthea says. Okay, you all heard the plant lady. Zera springs to her feet. Her tail twitches nervously underneath her long coat. We're heading back to... A faint scream echoes throughout the clearing, then another. It's louder the second time, more desperate. Kalen adjusts his goggles as though trying to detect the source of the sound. That way, he says after a few moments. It's coming from over there. Anthea leaps to a higher branch to get a better view. Which is exactly where the smoke is coming from. Maybe it's the other group, Kuru shrieks. We've got to do something. What do you suggest, Princess? Natchius snaps. That we all charge headlong into a forest fire? Oh, and while we're at it, let's not forget that we'll be in the path of every vicious creature running away from that same fire. He pulls an arrow from the quiver on his back and nocks it in his bow. Does anyone else even have a weapon? A real one, I mean, not one of those foolish tiny blades we've been issued. Pointer sighs. Though I wouldn't have put it quite so harshly, the Cyclops is right, my love. The last thing I want is to put you in harm's way. Pointer, shame on you. Kuru hops from his back and onto the forest floor. Well, if you won't come, I guess I'm going to go by myself. No, not by yourself, Kalen says. He rummages around inside his backpack until he reveals a small metal object. I'll come too. This should be able to scare off any beasts we come across. It's actually a modified Myth Army knife attachment. I invented it myself. You invented a whistle, Natchius says. Excellent. Between you both you can save the day with noise and good intentions. Count me in too, Anthea calls, then leaps from her branch and floats gracefully to the ground in a swirl of cherry blossom petals. You're going to need someone who's at home in the forest. Zera runs a hand through her short red hair and groans. Okay, for those of you keeping score, that's 3 votes for helping and 3 for getting the heck out of here. How about it, Drew? What does your map say to do in a situation like this? Drew sighs, then crumples up the map and stuffs it back into his bag. He pulls a wooden baseball bat with the words Property of Camp Myth painted down the side from a loop in his belt. It says that we should probably do something. He smiles as though his teeth might help to distract from the hesitation in his voice. Unbelievable. Natchius rolls his eye with a force that's almost audible. This is exactly why most Cyclopes prefer to stick with their own kind. Well, no one's forcing you to come, Kalen says. I'm sure we'll manage just fine without you. What? And miss watching you six get eaten by something with more teeth than brain cells, he replies. Not a chance. Drew, behind you, Pointer shouts, just in time for his fellow centaur to whip around and swing at the creature slithering straight for him. It's a basilisk, a human-sized serpent that's shingled with dull green scales from tail to snout. It's far more agile than an average snake, however, due to its muscular arms and razor-sharp talons that allow the beast to grip the earth and propel itself forward with alarming speed. It bares its fangs just as Drew's baseball bat connects with its leathery skull. The impact sends the creature spiralling to the ground, where it lets out an angry hiss, then scrabbles off into the trees. "They don't want to hurt us, they're only trying to escape the fire," Kuru says, her hand cupped over her mouth to prevent from inhaling smoke wafting through the forest. "Really, because it sure feels like they're trying to kill us," Nashus shouts, and he looses an arrow that catches another basilisk in the shoulder. "It appears that we've crossed paths with a pack of them," Pointer says, shooing one away with a sharpened tree branch. "They don't typically attack unless they feel threatened." "Gee, I wonder why they'd feel that way," Zara snaps. "Oh, maybe it's the fire that's torching their homes. You think that could be it?" Anthea gestures at the basilisk near Pointer and swoops her hand in a downward motion, causing a vine to shoot from the tree above and wrap itself around the creature. It falls to the ground in a heap, hissing uncontrollably. "Just be thankful we haven't met the Den Queen," she says, waving a cloud of smoke from her eyes. "Now, if you two are done bickering, perhaps you could keep a lookout for the people we're supposed to be saving." Kalen gives a quick blast on his whistle. It doesn't make a sound, but 2 more basilisks scamper around him and dive for the tree line. "See, I told you it'd work," he says triumphantly. There's another scream, except this time it's much sharper, a shrill cry of agony. "Oh, I just heard them! Follow me!" Kuru chirps. She clambers onto Pointer's back, but her boyfriend doesn't budge. "That wasn't one of our fellow campers, my love," he says. "That sounded practically avian." "A bird," Kalen says, "but why would it be hanging around here?" All 7 stare at each other, 13 eyes wide with a moment of shared comprehension. "We've been chasing a phoenix this entire time," Drew says. He reaches into his bag and pulls out a Polaroid camera. "We might not save a life out here, but we can at least earn our merit badge. Come on!" The group pushes through a thicket and enters a new clearing with an enormous sycamore tree towering above the underbrush. On the opposite end of the clearing, flames dance among the branches and blacken the leaves with every scorching lick. But there's something even more traumatic laying at the base of the sycamore. It's an orange-hued bird about the size of an eagle, covered in blood and lying perfectly still. Both of its wings are stretched wide, as if frozen in a perpetual hug, although one is badly mangled. "Is it?" Kuru blinks back tears, then buries her face in the nape of Pointer's neck. "Yeah, it's dead, Princess," Nashus says. "It's not ashing either, which means it didn't die of natural causes." He readies his bow and slowly draws back on the string. "I thought the phoenixes here at camp weren't able to start fires." Zara shakes her head. "They aren't. Something definitely isn't right here. We should go." "Just a second." Drew raises his camera and snaps a photograph of the phoenix. "Okay, all set." Anthea tilts her head to the side. "Really, Drew? Really?" "What? Where does it say in the field guide the bird has to be alive? I want my merit badge." He takes a few steps back and lines up another shot. "Just let me get one more of this tree with the fire in the background. It'll be totally artistic." He lowers the camera and points toward the sycamore branches. "Hey, there's a nest up there!" Sure enough, resting snugly between an elbow of limbs is a pile of rocks fused together in the shape of a bowl with a small red bump lying in the middle. "That's an egg," Kalen announces. "We have to save it. Even though it's a phoenix, a chick won't be able to survive the heat of a forest fire." "And how do you propose we transport it?" Zara asks. "That shell is crazy hot. It'll be like carrying a live coal." Well, just give me a second." Kalen tosses his backpack on the ground and starts digging through the contents. "Aha, perfect," he says, holding up a pair of metal tongs with rubber grips. "I knew these would come in handy for something." "Do I need to give my really speech again?" Anthea says flatly. She grabs the tongs and scurries up the tree faster than an excited squirrel. "Okay, little guy, you're coming with me," she says, carefully securing the egg. "There, that wasn't so bad." As if on cue, an unbearably loud hiss envelops the clearing like a crashing tidal wave. Pointer?" Kuru whispers once the hissing subsides. "That's not a regular basilisk, is it?" "No, my love, I don't believe so," he says. "It sounds more like a—" "Den Queen!" Nasius bellows as a monster 10 times the size of the creatures they'd encountered earlier bursts out of the fiery tree line and into the clearing. "Everybody run!" As Anthea leaps down from the tree and hustles the group back into the forest, Nasius takes a few steps back and knocks another arrow in his bow. He desperately searches for a weak point, but the serpent is covered in thick coppery scales that his weapon could never hope to penetrate. That's when he notices the pale crown-shaped symbol on the creature's forehead. It's a marking that's exclusive to the Den Queen of a basilisk pack, but also an area free of the scaly armour. He fires the arrow and it wedges deep into the crown, causing the oversized basilisk to roar in fury. It hisses once more, then begins to charge. "Great, now you've managed to make it angry," Zera calls, leaping over an uprooted tree. "It was already angry," Nasius yells as he catches up with the others. "Do we still have the egg?" Behind them, the forest trembles from the Den Queen's thunderous pursuit. It's a symphony of snapped limbs and crushed branches. "Right here," Anthea says, bouncing from trunk to trunk like a rubber ball. "But we need a plan quick or we're all going to be scrambled." As they run past a lilac bush, Drew says, "Hey, I know this place. We're near the ravine. Everyone, this way." They make a left turn and push on through the forest until eventually the trees give way to the edge of a rocky cliff. Anthea passes the tongs over to Kuru to free up both of her hands, then thrusts her arms out straight. Dozens of vines burst forth from the ground and twist their way across the ravine until they wrap tightly around the trees on the other side, forming a crude bridge. "Go," she orders. "I'll stay here to keep it steady." "But Anthea," Kuru says. "I said go!" Pointer nods and the pair hurry across, followed by Drew, Zera, Kaelin and Nasius. But just as Anthea takes her first step onto the bridge, the Den Queen lunges out of the trees, fangs bared. "Run!" Kaelin shouts as Anthea begins to double time it across the vines. She manages to make it about halfway before the Den Queen decides to continue the chase. With a mighty leap, it lands on the bridge with such force that the vines on her side snap like pieces of string. With only one end properly secured, the vines swing across the ravine and slam Anthea and the basilisk against the cliff face. The impact sounds severe, but they both manage to hold on. Anthea attempts to climb, but instead only winces in pain. "My arm," she shouts. "I can't move it. I think it's broken." The Den Queen, now with a firmer grip on the vines, claws itself a few feet closer. "Make a chain," Pointer instructs. "Centaurs, dig in here to brace for the weight." Pointer, Drew and Kaelin line up to form the base as Nasius, Kuru and Zera link hands to feet and lower themselves over the side of the ravine. Zera grabs Anthea by her good arm and yells for the team to pull, just as the Den Queen finally closes the gap on its prey. Its slash misses by inches as the group hauls everyone back to solid ground. "Release the vines," Drew shouts. "It's still coming." "I can't," Anthea replies, cradling her forearm. "Not without a working pair of these." The Den Queen hisses again and claws further up the side of the ravine. "Then how about we, I don't know, keep running?" Zera suggests. No, I've a better idea." Kaelin motions for the egg. "Quick, hand it to me." Kuru hesitates for a moment, then passes him the tongs, and Kaelin lowers the phoenix egg toward the plants. The moment it makes contact, the intense heat from the egg chews through the vines as if they were made of jelly. The Den Queen is no more than a few feet from the top when the final vine snaps, and with one last angry hiss, the basilisk plummets out of sight. They all take a moment to sit and catch their collective breath. After a minute or so, Nasius says, "I have to admit, Centaur, that was quick thinking." Drew nods. "Yeah, really, I was going to suggest that we throw Nasius at it, but your way was probably better." "Only a little, though," Zera adds, and they all laugh. Overhead, dozens of rocks carrying gigantic containers of water are dumping their cargo to extinguish the forest fire. "Looks like the camp is already on the job," Anthea says. "If the other dryads pull an all-nighter, this place will be back to normal before sunrise." Perhaps, Pointer says, but that still doesn't explain everything we've seen here today. Either that phoenix started the fire or something else did, and neither of those options sounds good to me. We should head back to camp and see if they have an explanation. Good idea, Drew says, waving a Polaroid picture. While we're at it, we can cash this in for our merit badges. Hey, what do you guys think we should try to earn next? How about basilisk taming, Kuru says, and they all groan as they head back into the forest.
And so ends Snakes and Campers. We hope you enjoyed it, and that the Camp Myth world captured your imagination as much as it did ours. We'll be giving you regular updates on the project as we get closer to the September 25th debut. In the meantime, Chris is currently running a Kickstarter campaign for the second Camp Myth novel, Kraken Fishing. Can you imagine what it must take to earn that merit badge? Some of the rewards being offered include custom camper artwork, unique items for the role-playing game, and my personal favorite stretch goal, merit badges! We'll put a link to the Kickstarter page for you in our show notes. Cast of Wonders needs your help. We love bringing you free stories week after week, but we can't do it without your assistance. If you'd like to support us, please visit castofwonders.org, where you'll find donation buttons for regular and one-time donations via PayPal. Or help spread the word about our new project and our weekly stories by blogging or tweeting about us. You can find us at Cast of Wonders, or write us a review on iTunes, or like our Facebook page. There's lots of ways you can show your love for our tales of the fantastic. Cast of Wonders is a production of Wolfsbane Publishing and is brought to you by our own camp counselors. Grant Dunlop as your host and audio producer, Barry J. Northern is our artist and publisher, and I remain as always your humble editor, Marguerite Kenner. Our episodes are released under a Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives license. Share it far and wide, but no alterations allowed. The Camp Myth theme music, August, is by Cast of Wonders' favorite musical artist, Alexei Nov from musicalley.com. Thanks for listening.